No. The last 12 months has been incredible evolution within our customers as we see the usage of Gen AI. More and more from going away from experimentation, pilots, and boardroom demos to more into secure and scalable applications, like more into the compliance copilots or custom agents and custom GPTs, which they're relying on, more into multi-agent type of workflows, taking action in multiple other systems like Salesforce and Outlook and Jira. So that multi-agent action, we could see that more getting productionalized. What we really see is the change in the mindset, where it's rather than just running for the newest version of the models, it's more around faster, getting faster to ROI kind of applications is what the customers are looking for. And then we are very well equipped to really serve the customers, and we've seen multiple production-ready applications being rolled out as we see. As Altimetric, we serve multiple regulated industries like financial services, life sciences, but as well as manufacturing, retail, and CPG. Let me touch on a couple of quick use cases or case studies within success stories, if you may well. One of them would be a multi-billion-dollar chemical manufacturing company which sells flavors and fragrances to luxury goods as well as food companies. We developed predictive AI to really get upsell, co-sell opportunities from their product catalog, and also then applying Gen AI on top of it to get more conversational aspects into it, and having the sales team to now have more conversational type of querying the upsell, co-sell opportunities, and are able to now, at every interaction with the customer, they're able to now kind of get that level of information and are able to co-sell, upsell. And we've seen that company really boost their sales pipeline almost 30%, and also increase the sales productivity by 15%. So also a huge thing, no longer focusing on productivity, more on the how do you grow the revenues. The second example is more multimodal. This is multi-billion-dollar elevator, escalator manufacturing companies. They do a lot of revenues from selling elevators, but majority of the revenue stream comes from servicing. And this is kind of a field service application which we did for that client, where we let the multimodal model analyze video, images, voice, so that when a field service agent goes to service an elevator, he's able to use his mobile phone camera to capture the issue on the elevator, and that gets immediately got into the knowledge base centrally and gets a response back with a solve of how that could be solved immediately. So think about it, the productivity of the field service representative at the service spot, and really completing the services and increasing the number of services he could attend on a daily basis really bumped up their revenue stream faster than what they expected. And we see a lot more of these multimodal type of applications coming into picture. And I could go on about further success stories, but another one quickly on the life sciences side, we were again able to apply predictive AI on their supply chain for our life sciences supply chain company, where on the manufacturing floor, the employees were able to be very conversational about raw materials coming in so that the manufacturing doesn't stop. So that improved the manufacturing efficiency of that particular client, by 30%. And it was, rather than looking at multiple dashboards and relying on the IT to provide them the status of the raw material, they were able to converse with the data and get more natural language conversation to get the manufacturing. So similarly, in several in the financial services regulated industry, the investment banking and the wealth management and the payments area, a lot of work being done in the RegTech area of compliance and regulatory aspects. And also in the software engineering area, we're able to kind of bring in a lot more productivity from a product sustenance perspective. How do we cut 50% of the cost for product maintenance? So a few examples for you to make it real for it. I agree, it's actually both. It also depends on the stage at where the enterprise is in. I've seen early stage adopters of Gen AI more focused on productivity and cost efficiencies, and they mature into more on revenue maximization. My example on the chemical manufacturing company where we did was initially focused more on sales productivity, but that turned out to be more around how do we cross-sell, upsell, and bring in a little bit more on the sales pipeline. So it's the maturity curve. It start off with optimization, but get into revenue maximization soon. I'll take it. I think the multimodal models are making Gen AI more really useful in real world, solving real world workflows. And we see that happening a lot more in not only starting with productivity, but also if you could really on the revenue upside as well. But as we look at hybrid models like the GPT 4.1 or the Gemini Flash, I think the more and more these are tunable to type of use cases. For example, in a contact center use cases for fast responses, you're able to tune that the right way. And for in the research world, if you want more reasoning, and you're able to really tune it for that level. So I think more and more these models are becoming more adaptable. It's again the question is how we look at the use case and what type of model, and then you don't want to be fancy to just throw in a reasoning model in a customer contact center area. So that's where we really come in as Altimeter to really help identify the use case, the right model, and to implement that the right way. Just double clicking a little bit on the reasoning models itself is it really breaks down complex multi-step problems into multiple agent or agentic chain, I would say. And what I really mean by that is multiple agents reasoning that out. An agent really breaking down multiple tasks, another agent retrieving data, another agent analyzing the inferences. And think about that. And an agent which is breaking down the task can have that as multiple agents too. So think about it as a chain of thought. Mm-hmm. And I think the complication here is as the multiple chains, the chain becomes longer and lengthier to point compute on the GPU, and in-memory context becomes higher. And that also opens up, reasoning is great, but also opens up as the context of the lengthier the agents become, the chain become, the need for, the hallucination effect also comes into. So we got to be very careful on how do you throw in safety nets and things like that. And also in the reasoning models learn by their responses itself. So this also, we heard about it last week about an OpenAI reasoning model kind of deleting off the shut off command it gave. So this is learning from its responses. So lots of safety nets need to be added. And in our customer environment, what we see and what we guide them is that, hey, the winner is going to be really deploying this in a very precision surgical way is important, because you can't just deploy this reasoning model for any problems you want. So there is a lot of interest in the small language models in the enterprise, especially very domain focused. But in practice, what we are seeing is the enterprises embracing still the large language models, because the pace at which the innovation and the model versions are changing, and the pace at which the efficiencies and cost and the latency and the reasoning aspects coming into LLMs, the enterprise are still embracing the enterprise are embracing LLMs. And one of the challenges with LLMs is security and governance. So it's a lot of our enterprises or our clients are coming up with their own security wrappers and API gateways, and also prompt governance to kind of avoid those security issues. But as we go along, this interest for SLMs, the SLMs will continue, and that, I believe, as the model distillation and model tuning becomes the norm, and extracting the knowledge from LLMs into the SLM becomes the norm, I think these SLMs will become more prevalent. And also as the open source model comes out more rapidly, and then really distilling the knowledge into the open source models and making it really domain specific is going to, I think it's probably in the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to see a lot more of that happening in enterprises. Completely agree with that. I think it was a wake-up call for a high-quality open source model. at a fraction of the cost in a non-Western model. I think some of the techniques, as Bill pointed out, are pretty unique, and I think it's further going to evolve, especially the mixture of experts as well as the reinforcement learning, as you mentioned. But the model distillation, the way DeepSeek did, is very important to note, and I think majority of the companies are taking that on to see how do we kind of transfer the knowledge from the reasoning model into a small language model. I think that's the transition I see from large language models into more domain-specific language models, which is going to be really important for regulated industries, especially in the financial services and the life sciences world, which could be kind of hosted within their private cloud and more secure from that perspective. From an enterprise perspective, I see the near-term opportunity is more on the knowledge and productivity partner perspective. Adding multimodal capabilities to it and really solving real-world workflow is important for enterprises, and I see that pick it up, and also removing that human in the middle, which has been happening in the past. So how do we do that? And the models coming up, I think there's a lot more promising as we see. I think in the medium term, I believe the opportunity is more as the quality of the open source model increases, as well as this whole holistic approach of model tuning and model distillation brings in the small language models into perspective. They're going to be model proliferation, and the whole opportunities around the model context protocol, which is now to the MCP, which is equivalent to the TCP during the internet world. The interoperability of these models talking to each other is very important. And as we see, a lot more of these enterprises are going to have their own models hosted in their private cloud, and how they interact through MCP is a huge opportunity, I believe. From a risk perspective, I would say, obviously, governance and safety is very important from an enterprise perspective. What that really means is security, really access management is important, and how do you build it very, very much safety nets within your models so that they don't hallucinate is very important. And the other risk really from an enterprise perspective is also organization fragmentation, because we've seen many of the teams within an organization just going off, experimenting with various models and building solution in isolation. I think if we do not have a very good balance between a centralized governance and the team creativity, this could just go havoc, and the organization fragmentation could be a big risk there as well. My view, I think from a hype cycle, we are kind of bleeding into a value cycle, is what I believe, and within the value cycle, we're going to have many more mini hype cycles within it, and I think the winner is going to be the ones who are ready for those mini hype cycles and have the right shock absorbers built into them so they don't crash, so they absorb the right, or they embrace the right innovation from the mini hypes and then apply it. And as we've seen happening, and this is going to continue, I think, for the foreseeable futures of this mini hype cycles within this year.